welcome to today's Build Together session. My name is Nicola. I am from the team here at Podia. And today we're going to walk through exactly how you can set up your Podia website and your blog step by step. We're going to build everything together so you can see how all this looks in real time. So today is all about your website, and your website is often one of the very first points of contact that people will have with your business. So if a prospective customer finds you, your website usually going to be one of the first spots they check out. It's where you can share information about your business, about your brand, all of your amazing products, and it's also where you can give people a way to actually buy those products, get on your email list, and get to know you more as a creator. And most importantly, it's a place where you can let your personality shine and you can show off your unique brand voice, which is really the heart of your business. So it's important that your website not only performs really well, but also looks and feels like you. So today, as we do this tutorial together, we're going to kind of talk about the two aspects of this. First, how to make your website technically perform well and achieve the goals you want it to achieve in your business, but also how to make it look and feel like a place that you want to spend time and something that reflects who you are to your customers. So if you already have a Podia account, everything that you see today, you can do in the Podia website editor and blogging tool. If you do not have an account yet, you can do all of this on a 30-day free trial of Podia. So if you're watching live, I will send a sign up link with the replay. And if you are watching the replay, there will be a link to sign up in the comments or the what word am I looking for? The caption, the caption below the video. So today we're going to set up a website for a coaching business. We have a lot of people who sell coaching on Podia. It's a really successful niche. You can offer coaching around all kinds of topics. And for the sample business we're building today, this coaching business has one digital download product and one coaching product available for sale. So we're going to head into Podia now and start getting everything set up. I'm going to share my screen. If you could just drop a note in the chat when you can see my Podia dashboard. You guys able to see that? Awesome. Okay, great. So we are just in the basic Podia dashboard right here. Awesome. It looks like everyone's able to see that. Perfect. So I am on a free trial account of Podia. I've been using this, the trial is 30 days. I've been using this for the last few webinars. So that's why it says 8 days left. So again, everything you see here, you can do on a trial or in a regular Podia account. So this is your main dashboard. And the very first place we're going to go is to your products tab. So I mentioned that this sample product has a digital download and a coaching offer. And I've already got these set up for us. And the reason for that is because everything in Podia is interconnected. So when we build your website, we can actually pull in your product information that you've already set up here. So you don't have to copy and paste it multiple times. So I'm going to click into this product. And if I click this edit button right here, I'll see my files and my details. So I have a title for my digital download, I have an image, and I have a description. I can also add other information here, but for today, this is what we're going to focus on. So now, whenever I add this product to a part of my website, it's going to pull in this text and this image. So at any point, if you want to change a description of your product or the name of your product, you can do it right here and it will take effect all across your website. So it's just a way to save you some time and not have to have a million tabs open, copying and pasting, which is, we all know that struggle. You can also change your pricing and availability in this view as well. So I'm going to click done here. And now we're going to go over to the website. At first glance, you're going to see a list of all the pages on your Podia website. This is great if you just want to make a quick update on the go. You can click in and make an adjustment. We have our homepage, our index, blog post, and category pages. These all are part of your blog, which we'll talk about in just a second. You have a community landing page. So if you choose to have a community for your Podia business, we'll generate a page for that, for your landing page for that. You also automatically have a landing page for each of your products. So whenever you create a product and we put in all that information, Podia will generate a page, and that page will let you can share that page. People can buy the product. It's all set up automatically. Then there are these checkout success page is a standard page when someone buys a product, just says, good job, success. And then your privacy policy and terms of service. So let's click into the site editor here. And right now we've just got a blank home page. This is nothing on the page. We just have our little header navigation and our footer and lots of space to fill with our beautiful designs. I clicked here on homepage, and this is going to pull up that menu again where you can see all the different pages on your site. If you want to add a new page, which we are going to do, you just click right here and a new page is ready to go. So I'm going to click again, and you'll notice next to each page, there's this little gear. So this is our page settings, and this is where you can customize the title. So this is going to be our products page, and I'm going to put the URL as products as well. So when you're titling and adding a URL to your pages, this is a really good opportunity to let search engines like Google know what your page is about. If when a search engine is trying to decide what order to display the search results in, it's looking for the best fit. So if someone is looking for online music lessons or art courses about watercolors, then if you have an exact match to that, you're more likely to show up higher in the search results. So use this opportunity to tell search engines exactly what your page is about by putting a keyword or two in the URL or the title. You can also use this description here to make sure that search engines really have a good understanding of what each page is about, because they're going to be looking at all the information you give them, and this is a place to add that. You can also do some other customizations here. You can toggle on and off the site header. So if you want a more traditional landing page layout, like maybe a splash page where you don't want people clicking around, you can do that. And you can also choose if you do want to hide a page from the search results. If you have like a page that you don't want people to Google and find on accident, maybe a private page for a membership, you can turn that on and off here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 pages to our website. And I like to add, when I'm building a site, I like to add all my pages up front because it makes it easier to link everything together as we go. So as we set up our homepage, we're going to be linking out to the product page, to the blog, to our newsletter page, which I'm making right now. Newsletter. And as we go, for me, it's easier to just remember as I go, like click, add the link, go. And I think at the end, it's so exciting to see the whole thing come together that sometimes we just want to go publish and forget to check back and make sure all of our links go where we want them to go. So by setting up all the pages at the top, it's just a little trick to help make sure everything is connected the way you want it to be connected, and to make sure you don't forget building a page you originally wanted to build. So for this business, we're going to keep it very simple. We're going to have a home page, a newsletter page, a products page, and then the blog. There's one more thing I want to show you in this menu over here, and this is your master site settings. So you can, if you are, for instance, if you are a blogger and you want to show a list of all your blog posts on the homepage, you can actually choose your blog index to be your homepage, or you can set any other page on your site as your homepage. So if you want a product to be really heavily featured, your community, you have those options as well. We're going to keep the homepage for now. We're also going to add a description of our site as a whole. And this is a great SEO opportunity as well, because when a search engine is deciding how to rank your site, if it can easily figure out what your site is about compared to other sites, then you have a better chance of getting that higher ranking. So I'm going to add a little site description here. And this is just kind of a generic coaching description. Of course, for your business, you would want to customize this and be a little more specific, but try to keep this short because the recommended length is only up to 160 characters. The other thing we can add in this view is our site icon. So if you look up at the top of the screen next to the word Podia, there's this little pink or purple P, and then all these tabs also have little icons next to them. You can add your own for your site. So I'm going to add one really quick. This is a little logo I just made in Canva, and I exported it with a clear background. I was thinking with momentum coaching, like an arrow felt kind of like a fun motif to use. You can also add a cookie pop-up script here if you are using a cookie banner as well. So you can add all that in these site settings. So let's go back and we're going to hop into our home page. And in Podia, you can hover anywhere on the page and click this plus sign. And that's going to pull up a menu of all of the different page sections you can use to build. And if you click into any of these, you're going to see pre-made templates as well. So you can click one of these, it'll appear, and you can customize it with your own information and photos. And this makes it super easy to just get something down on the page because these all look great out of the box and they're pretty easy to customize. You can click in, you've got all kinds of options here. We have email forms, FAQs, images, links. Pretty much anything you could want to make, you've got some templates as a starting point, and then you can customize those layouts further. So we're going to start with a basic text section, and I'm just going to use this centered one, and we're going to put that in right at the top. And then within each section you make, you have these two pillars that we talked about at the beginning. We have your content and your design. So you can customize your text, your images, your buttons, all the actual like meat and potatoes of your website in this content tab. And then in the design tab, you can change the way it looks and the style. You can add your colors, you can add, different spacing and alignment. All of that happens in the design tab. So when I'm building a site, I really like to get all the information out there first. I like to put all my images, all my text, all my sections in kind of like a black and white, a little bit boring at first layout. And then I go back and design after. So I can see how everything's going to look on the page before I start getting the creative juices really flowing. So for this one, I'm going to add my title as a heading 1. Every page on your site should have just one heading 1. This is the main idea of each page. Beyond that, these smaller subheadings should be H2s, and smaller subheadings than that are H3s. This, again, tells search engines, we're always trying to talk to the search engines, that this is the most important idea on this specific page, and there should only be one per page. This also will make this text appear bigger than all the other text on your page. So your viewers, who are more important than the search engines, are going to see that there is a bigger section, catches the eye more. So H1 for the title. I am going to grab my title here. I'm going to delete this little pretext here. And I've got a tagline for my business that I want to really tell people like what they can get from the coaching. Then I have a small body text here that tells a little bit more about what to expect. And I'm going to backspace the filler text and paste mine in. These text sections are also really cool because within each text section, you can hit the slash key and you can insert other media too. You can add images, files, audio if you want to, if you're a podcaster and you want to share some audio links. You can embed from sources like YouTube, or you can even embed a spreadsheet, a presentation, Canva, Airtable. We've seen all kinds of great embeds. You can add a line if you want to do that. You can also go through and change the formatting of your different texts. You can make smaller, larger, bullet lists, all that just by hitting the slash key. So if you're trying to make a certain design and the default settings don't have that, that's another option you can use right there in the text. We're also going to add some buttons. I'm going to put Discover Coaching as my main button because that's the main thing I want to do when someone lands on my homepage for the first time. And then this is another way that Podia makes it super easy. You can click this link right here, click the page option, and you will see a dropdown of all the pages on your site. And you can just pick the one that you want to link. So you're not having to memorize a bunch of URLs, potentially mistype them. You can just click and go. And that's going to pull up our button. You also have the option to add another button if you want, but for this section, I'm going to leave this as is. I really want people to go to that coaching page, that products page, which we'll set up in just a minute. The next thing we're going to add to this page, I'm going to click the plus again. The next thing I want to do, if someone's not quite ready to discover my coaching, I want to get them on my email list. And a great way to do that is with a free product. So we are going to click on the products tab. I'm going to pull this template for one product. And then we have this Clarity Kickstart workbook that we already set up. It's right here. Every published product you have is going to be listed in this product menu. And look, it's going to pull in the title, the text, everything that we set up in that product. So now someone who lands on my homepage can just pop their email in and get access to this download right there without, they don't have to go on any other page. And then they will get the product so they can learn about me, but then they're also on my email list, which means I can send them automations, I can send them my newsletter. I have lots of options for staying in touch, which is really great for building your business long term. Because even if someone's not ready to buy like right this second when they land on your page, they might be ready to buy in a month or 2 months. And if they're on your list, you can be communicating with them that whole time so that when they are ready, you have an offer that's there for them. So for this, you can customize. This is going to pull in automatically the image and text that you set in the products area. But if you wanted to customize this, you can do that too. You can pick a different image. You can change the title and the description. That's all an option there. When someone does sign up, you can show a message like, thanks for signing up, or you can redirect them to a page or a URL. So those are other options you've got there. I am going to toggle on the name field because I want to gather their name and their email address. And then you can also decide what you do and don't want to show here. So I think I'm going to turn off the type and the included items because I don't feel like that's super necessary. But you can decide what you want based on your product and your business. The next thing we're going to add, and this is especially important for coaching businesses because, so we're going to add an about section. And I think if someone is signing up for coaching with you, they're going to want to get to know you. So this is a great way to tell people a little more about yourself and let them learn about you. I'm going to grab this one with the circle. Yeah, I like that with the circle. And these about bio sections, they let you add your image. You can add a link to the image. You can also customize all the text and you can add socials. So if you have a big following on other platforms or if you are sharing content you think your website visitors will like, you can hop over there. And that's a great way to interconnect everything. So I don't have an image of myself handy right now. If you did, you would upload that from the computer and you could have that be your about section. You also have this choose media button, which as you build your Podia account, any files, video or photo files you upload are going to be saved in your Podia account. So you can choose from the media you've already uploaded. You don't have to keep re-uploading the same picture a bunch of times. But you also have this option to search on Unsplash. And I wouldn't use this for your bio section. This is just an example. But you can use Unsplash images throughout your site in other ways. So I think this is a really nice, like, about me section image. This person is very happy. This feels like it goes well with my momentum coaching, what I'm trying to go for with my site. So we're going to put that in there. And then I have got a bit of custom text to add. And we'll put about me. Hi, I'm Nicola. And then, of course, you can add more socials. You can take away ones that you don't use. You've got lots of options there. Okay, so my next section I'm going to add, and again, I'm just clicking down the page, clicking this plus sign. If I decide, oh, actually, I want to put something up here, just click the plus right there, and you can add in your section wherever on the page you want. And I click this plus sign, and now I'm going to show you a cool layout that you can use for tons of things in your business. This is an image section. You can choose just a normal image text. You can make a gallery. You can have a big featured image. You've got these grids. But I'm going to use this side-to-side alternating grid. And I'm going to use this space to tell people a little more about my coaching and why it might be a good fit. And this is good if you are expecting to get a lot of totally new people to your website who might not know what you offer or what you do. So I'm going to pull out that pre-title and add why work with a coach, just to make sure if someone's totally new, they're skimming, oh, why do I work with a coach? This is good for sharing information. I've got a bit of body text here to add. And I'm going to add 2 buttons to this section. The first, I'm going to say, read the blog. And again, I'm clicking into this link option. I'm clicking page, and this index is my blog posts. It's going to be a grid or a section with all my blog posts in it, which we'll customize in just a minute. And then get in touch. And this is really cool. You can actually set it up so you can add your email address right here. And if someone clicks this button, it'll take them to their email and then they can just send you a message directly, which I think is helpful for a lot of businesses, especially if you don't mind kind of getting those one-to-one outreach emails. So then for these two grid sections, these are considered items in the grid. You can add a new item. You can click into each one to customize them. You can actually add a video. Some people add GIFs, image. I'm going to search coaching. I think that's a nice one. And then I'm going to add why someone should work with a coach. I've got a heading and my body text. All right, that's all looking good. You can add buttons in here if you want. I'm not going to do that for this one. And then I'm going to back out and go to my next grid item. And you can drag these to reorder them if you want. And you can add as many as you want. So if you wanted to have a lot more in this space, you could. I'm going to click in and grab my title and my body text. Okay. Oh, we need a picture. Over to Unsplash, and we'll say coaching again. There was a lot of good ones for this. And since this text is about support, let's do this one's kind of nice. It shows some people supporting each other, working together. All right, we have one more section we're going to add before we start doing some design changes here. As of right now, we're pretty plain, white background, black text, blue button. So we're going to change that up in just a second. The very end of the page, I like to add a final call to action. So a final big message that says, hey, you made it this far. Here's how you can take the next step with me and my business. So we're going to do another text section just like we did at the top. I'm going to pull in that centered one. And for this section, instead of saying, hey, my coaching's awesome, you should do it, it's the best, I like to focus on what is the person going to get from working with me and put them in the future, a month from now, 6 months from now, what will your life look like if you do this program? And this can apply to any type of business. If someone joins your sewing course, are they going to be making their own clothes by the end of the duration of your course? If someone joins your cooking, your recipe book, by the end, will they be making healthy recipes for their family? So whatever outcome you want them to achieve, call that forward instead of explaining what you do. So it kind of puts them at the center. We're going to put some body text in here again. And I will put my button, explore coaching offers. That's the last thing I want people to do. Most important thing, I want them to go to my products page. Okay. So now we've got our whole page. We're going to publish this. And I'll show you what this looks like. It looks pretty good. I mean, it's got everything. It's super clean, super basic. It's easy to understand. If I were a customer and I landed here, I would be able to figure out what I needed to know. But we want to go a little more fun on the design end. So now we're going to go into this design tab up at the top. This is where you can update the design for every page of your website. This is your universal settings. Whatever you decide here will take effect everywhere, so you do not have to go through and copy and paste a bunch of hex codes to change the color, which is great. You also can go in and customize things at a section by section level, but for the most part, I only do this rarely. Usually I will just use whatever I set in the universal design settings. So in the color settings, I've got this palette selected, but you can go through and there are tons to choose from. And they're going to make subtle changes. This one has a more kind of chocolatey browns. This one has a nature color palette. This one's got some pinks and purples. And this one, I like that. Green's my favorite color, so we'll probably go with this one. Lots of greens. Then you can go in and actually customize these colors yourself if you want to make your own palette. And I did want to show you really quick. I stumbled upon this website the other day, and it's so cool. It's called Happy Hues Co. And this is a website where you can explore different color palettes for your website and see them in context, like on a website. And then you can grab the hex codes for the colors here and set them in your Podia universal settings if you wanted to use a palette here. You also can use coolers. This has trending color palettes as well. You can click on, if you see a color you like or a palette you like, you can click in here and paste them into your color palette here. So you're going to use for your accents are going to be two bright colors, shades are two dark colors. Shades 1 and 2 are dark colors, shades 3 and 4 are light colors as you're building out your custom palette. But we're going to use this one, this default one. Next, we can, oh, and also you can customize each. You can go in more deep, go in more detail with your colors here if you want to customize these further, like what each heading is and stuff like that. So that's some more options on colors. You can also customize your fonts. There are some really great looking defaults out of the gate. They look really nice. You can choose one you like and use it as is. Or you can go through and customize the headings. You can adjust the font weight. You can adjust the line height. You can put headings in all caps if you want. Got lots of options here. Again, I'm going to choose a default. I like this boundless one. I think that looks really nice. And then, I don't know, no, I think I like 18 font. Yeah, I think that's going to work really well. But again, you can go through and customize the styles for all the fonts on your site in this menu, and they'll take effect site-wide so that you're not having to go through and do that manually, which would take a long time. You also can customize your interactive elements. So you can decide links in your blog post, for example, if you want them underlined or with a squiggle line. You've got those options. You can make your buttons outline or filled in. You can do the same with your media. And then finally, you can adjust the structure, so the width and padding of your website. By default, the website is this 1104 pixels across. For most websites, this is going to be correct. This is great. If you did want it a little more narrow, you can scoot it in. I don't recommend going much wider because it can kind of look strange on a desktop. It can just look really long and that's harder to read. And then you can go super narrow if you want. But I would recommend keeping it around this 1100. And then you can also go in and adjust specific sections if you want a certain area to be wider or more narrow. Then you have these padding options. So if you watch like the white space here, the top padding adds some size up to the top and the bottom. Bottom padding adds size to the bottom. So you can make all those adjustments universally. They will take effect everywhere. Or you can go section by section if you want something custom in just one area of your site. Okay, so let's go through and make this really pretty. I'm going to click into the design tab now. I'm on my top heading section. I'm going to keep it centered. And now I'm going to click this theme and you can see all the different color options. I'm going to put this as a dark theme and I want to add a background image. So I'm going to go to Unsplash, and a little tip for finding background images for your site. A few like keywords in Unsplash that work really well for me. I use texture. And you'll get all these really great textures that are kind of subtle for a background because you really don't want your background image to be super loud and busy or it's kind of hard to read the text on top. So you can use a texture, you can use abstract. Abstract is really cool. It gets you some fun designs that are more subtle. You can also just search the color if you have a key color in your palette. So green gives me some of these like more abstract-y kind of background images. I was going to see, because I called my business Momentum Coaching. I really want to find something with some movement here. So I'm going to look for movement. I think this could, oh yeah, that looks really cool. So now that I've added an image, I can turn the opacity up and down. I can make it grayscale or not grayscale, and I can up the contrast. So I think I want it to be really subtle, but I do like that movement, like that kind of flow. I think this just makes websites look a little more dynamic, like they're not, 2D pancakes. So I like that for my heading section. Then down here, In my design tab, I really like to have my image be about the same height as the text. So this free email delivery and the text under the button are kind of taller than the image. So to fix that, I'm going to make this image a square and I'm going to make it a little smaller so they're closer in size. And I'm also going to change the alignment of the text and the image. So now I've got my text on the left side, my image on the right side. And the reason I did that is because when people are reading, if it's an English speaking audience, we typically read from the left to the right across the page. So this is going to jump out a lot more if it's sitting flush to the left side of your website. So if you're scrolling down the page, you're moving kind of fast, I really want this to jump out because this is my free lead magnet that gets them onto my email list. So that's getting a priority spot. The next section, let's see. I'm going into design. I'm going to give this a light background to make it stand out from the section above. And then another little design tip for websites, if you have a person or you on your website and that person is looking a certain way, this way, that's going to draw the eye of your viewer to wherever the person is looking. So for this section, what I would do is alternate them or alternate the text and the image so that this person's eye is looking at, hi, I'm Nicola. That's going to draw the eye of your website visitor to the text about you, which is just a better practice for web design. I'm gonna, yeah. Do I want this one? Ooh, a little too small. Awesome. Okay, so that is looking good. So for this section, I want to show you something I like to do with this back and forth section. I like to make these images actually a little bigger so they overlap a bit. And then I'm going to make them wide. And we have this option in the style. So you can make things like a card like this. You can do a split overlay, which is a little hard to read. So make sure your background image is dark if you do that one. And this inset image. I think this looks so cool. I'm actually going to do, I think landscape would be better. So this gives a little bit of movement to this page where we have the text overlapping the image. Again, we're going for that 3D look, so it's just not so flat. And I want to add another background image to this section. I'm going to go back to design. I'm going to go all the way down to background image. And I'm kind of getting a bit inspired by this water movement here and then this person who's at the beach. So I'm going to see if there's like a sunrise beach picture maybe that could be, feels like the right fit for a coaching business, a new beginning, moving forward. Ooh, hello. Okay, let's see how this looks. If I turn down the grayscale, turn up the contrast. Okay, so with the text, you want to be really careful to make sure that your text is always legible over your image. So that's why I turned down the opacity a little bit because I don't want to make it hard to read. But I do really like this subtle kind of fade effect in the background. Again, I think it just adds some interest to the page. And yeah, I like the way that looks. And finally, we have got our last section. This is our section we really want to pop on the page. So we are going to go real bright. Let's see. Do we want to be ultra bright? That might be a little too bright. We'll go vivid. And then I'm going to put the text on a card in the middle of the page. That way it's not difficult to read. Still want everything to be easily read. I'm also going to adjust the width of just this section to give that a little more of a balanced look. It was getting a little long, which I want it to be a little more tight. So I scooted that into 960 pixels. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to hit publish. And now we can refresh our page and see all of these new changes on our homepage. And this is looking really good so far. We've got all of our buttons go where they're supposed to go. We have a lead magnet for people to sign up. We have information about the creator. We have a link to the blog, a way to get in touch, and finally, another link to go explore products and coaching offers. So one other thing I want to show you, if you're happy with your site, you've made it, it looks amazing, and you think you might want to reuse sections other places on your site, click into the section you want to save. Click this little flag up here. This is save a copy. And I'm going to put bio green. I'm going to save it. And now any other page on my website, I can use this exact section and I can just click and insert it and it'll be exactly the same as I've designed here. So this can save a ton of time if you're using the same elements on other pages as your business grows. All right, let's hop over to our products page. This is super quick to set up. I'm going to delete this section, click my plus sign, and Podia already has a products section built in. I'm going to click products, and then I want to do this big list of products like here. And I can scroll down and you can either choose to just show all your products, you can show specific types of products, categories, or go through and pick piece by piece which product you want to use. And this section you can put on any page of your website. You can put this on your homepage if you want. Any of these sections I'm showing you can go anywhere you want. This is just the layout we're doing today. I'm going to do show specific types. And then I want my digital download to be at the top and then my coaching session. And we don't have these other product types, so it's not relevant right now. But then you'll see it puts this little heading here. So as my business grows, if I have multiple digital downloads or multiple coaching sessions, those will all be visible in their category, which is really nice. You also have some options here for what you want to show. You can toggle on and off all these details depending on how you want your page to look. So I'm going to click over into the design tab. And for this section, I like the image and text, but I want to make it a little smaller. And I'm going to use this split card layout and this light green background. Okay, so now whenever I add a new product, it's going to automatically follow this template. It's going to go on this page where it's supposed to, and it's going to look great. So that's an easy one. Next page is our newsletter page. I'm going to delete this section. And one of my favorite blocks on the Podia website builder, which I use all the time when I'm building sites, is this email form block. This lets people sign up for your email list so they can get your newsletter, and you can configure this all kinds of ways behind the scenes. We're actually going to have another session on email coming up in a few weeks. So this is just a way to get people onto your list, and then from there you can do all kinds of stuff. So this looks really good as it is. I am going to customize it with, I'm going to customize it with an image here. Let's see, newsletter. Oh, perfect. Good news is coming. Good newsletter is coming. I'm going to change this to be a square ratio, and I'm going to turn the corners round to make it a circle. Let's bump it up a bit. And then I want to make this dark, and I saw a texture that I really liked that I think could work for this page. Okay, this texture is kind of like a fabric look. And I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Yeah, I just want it to be kind of subtle so it's not distracting from the content, but it still feels like there's a little more movement on the page. Okay, so I'm going to click save or publish. And now this is live on my site, which means anyone who lands on this page can sign up for my email list and start hearing from me in my newsletter. So we're going to take a little break from the website builder. I'm going to click done to go back to Podia. And now we're going to look at your blog. All your blog posts in Podia are going to live right here in this blog section. I've got 3 blog posts loaded up already, and these are super easy to add. You basically just get a text editor and you can type your blog post right here. You can add images by hitting that slash key. You can add files, audio embeds. You can add your podcast episodes, YouTube videos. You can add, or you can just type and add links to stuff. And in the summary section here, you can customize the name of the author, the blog post URL, which again should be related to the topic of the blog post because Google search engines are looking at every bit of information you give them to figure out what your article is about. So it can, yeah, that slash key is so good. Sorry, we have a comment in the chat saying the slash key. Just showing some love for the slash key. I agree. It is so nice. And when you add, but going back to the blog post URL, adding in a keyword or a description of what the content is about is going to help your readers and also search engines understand how to like rank this article and rank you higher, which is what we want. Also, in the details, you can add your featured image and your excerpt for the blog post. You can decide if you want comments on or off, and you can choose a category. So, blog posts can have categories. We'll look at them in just a minute. I recommend one category per article and max of like 4 or 5 categories just to keep your site nice and neat and organized. But you can add as many as you want. That's up to you. And then finally, there are some SEO tools here. You can add your SEO title and description. And this is another great place to put your keyword and really explain like what this content is about. So let's hop into the categories editor really quick. I have 2 categories set up for my site. I have habits and goal setting. You can see the number of posts in each category here. And then if you need to click into the category, you can also add a awesome, if you someone's stepping out, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to catch the replay. So you can click here to adjust the URL for your category. You can also add a page title and description for each category, which is an awesome way to, again, help the search engines figure out what your stuff is about. So we're going to go back into our website editor. Oops. Edit site. Now, in this menu, there are 3 pages devoted to your blog. We have your index page, which is a list of all the blog posts on your site. And every time you add a new post, this is going to populate again. So new articles are going to come here. We have your category page, which is just the exact same thing, an index page, but just for a specific category. And then we have the blog post page, which is a template all your blog posts will follow. So let's customize the index page first. I saw this layout. Another Podia creator made this and it looked so beautiful. So I'm going to see if I can recreate a similar design. They had a portrait mode photo. It was full width. I'm going to center my photo. I'm going to put it in this light green. And it had this little split card look. And I just thought it looked so beautiful when I saw it on their site. So I like that as kind of our inspiration. I am also, this is a cool feature. This is kind of new as of a few months ago. You can adjust the card height. So if you want them all to match, you can do that. Or you can have them all be staggered, which is a more like rustic look. You can also change like the shadow on the cards. You've got all kinds of customizations you can make. And again, as you add more posts, they will fill into this layout, whatever you set here. And I'm going to keep this page really simple, just like this. You can, in the content section, turn on and off different elements. So I don't think I mean, I'm the only author on this site, so I don't need the author. There's no comments either, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And then you can choose if you want, the excerpt or not, the featured image or not. Those are all options as well. So we'll click publish. We're going to do the same layout for the blog category page. Yes, can you change the publish date? Yeah, so actually we can, Diane, I will come back to that at the end because that's in the blog editor. So I'll show you how you can update that. And also how you can pull blog posts over from another source because we have an importer. So for this page, we are going to click in. I'll do a slightly different layout here. Let's do some rows with an image left center. We'll make the image a little smaller. One thing to remember on a page, if you want all the listings to look uniform, click in here. Natural is going to be just whatever size and shape you uploaded into Podia. So if it's like giant or tiny, that's going to pull that in. If you want it to be uniform, I would choose one of these sizes. And that typically, unless you have intentionally uploaded certain sizes to make a design, then I usually will pull in one of these. So these are looking good. We'll keep this page nice and simple with our green background. And then we are in our blog post page, which is one of my favorite pages of Podia. This is so cool. You can basically go any blog post you add, it's going to pull in all the details that you have written into the template you set here. So I'm clicking into this heading section right here. I am going to go to my design tab and let's set a image. We'll make it a little smaller. And we're going to put our text on the left-hand side and our image on the right because we want the eye to be drawn to the left-hand side of the page. And I'm going to use this little inset layout. We use this on our homepage as well, so we'll do a nod back to that. And I do want a background here, but one thing to be careful about, this background is going to be uniform on every post you publish. So if you add a featured image, it should look not like the background shouldn't be so exciting that it conflicts with your featured image because you might add an interesting feature image in the future. So I'm going to stick with something subtle. I'm going to do this green. Let's see what we can find. I think this might work really well. That kind of looks like the same green in this date right here. And turn off the grayscale, turn up the contrast, and we're going to just mellow it out a little bit. Yeah, I like that. And I mean, you could just use a solid color green, but I do like this little bit of difference in the background. It just feels like there's a bit more movement on the page. But personal preference, you can also just pick a background color or leave it white if that's how you like. Now, on this template, I'm going to add something that is really, really cool. For your blog posts, I'm going to add this little teeny tiny email sign up form. And this is so that if someone Googles a question, your article comes up, you have the answer. They are so excited. They're so thrilled. Now they have a way to get on your email list right there on the page. For this one, I'm going to make it subtle because I don't want to take away from the awesome blog post. Let's go here. I'll put a dark background on it, and I do want to gather their name. So right here at the very top, if someone reads this article and thinks it's amazing and they want to hear more from you, you've given them the option right there, super easy, done. This is going to show up on every single one of your blog posts because this is the master template. So anything you do here, it will be on every article you publish. You can also click into this section and make some light adjustments. I'm going to bump it down a little bit just because I do feel like text when it's really long can get kind of hard to read. So we're going to make it this 960. And then you've got a comment section down here that you can set up. And the last thing that I think is an amazing hack when you are publishing blog posts, if you have products, you can actually add a little section at the bottom of your blog post that shows all the products that you offer, or like one or two featured products. So let's add in a featured product that we want to call people's attention to. I'm going to choose my coaching session. We're going to make it not so big. And I'm going to make it dark. And now I've got this at the bottom of every single article. So someone who's read my post, if they really resonated with it and want to learn more from me, they can even buy a product right here. This is currently set to free, but if it were a paid product, it would show the price and I would have a checkout link. So this is a way to really get the most out of each blog post you publish because you put a lot of work into it. You should make it easy for people to go from reader to customer right there on the page. All right, the very, very last thing we need to do, our website is almost done. We are going to connect everything. So I'm going to click into my header and I'm going to click new link. We're going to do our products page. And again, everything is connected in Podia. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click page, products, done. Just a few seconds and your header's all linked. Newsletter, page, newsletter, and I'm going to link my blog. I do recommend keeping this area pretty minimal on your site. If you can keep it all to one line, that's really ideal because anything more than that, it can just start to look a little wonky, especially on mobile. So try to keep this to one line, really focus on your most important products or links or pages up at the top. You have all the same design options as normal. You can change the layout, but we're going to keep that as is. And we're going to customize our footer. So click right into this big white section at the bottom. And I'm going to add a little tagline to my footer. I'm going to add, you can add links as well here. I'm going to add socials here so you can put in your social accounts. I'm just, woo. We don't need that link. Delete that. You can add in your socials, any socials you have. I'm just putting a slash for now as a placeholder, but you would want to actually put the handle, your URL to your social. You can even add a email button that will you can put in your email address and someone can email you. So that is super nice. You can add an email form to the bottom, but for now, we're just going to keep it simple. We're going to go centered and this nice dark color. And there we are. So let's publish and I'll show you the full website. All right. Whoops. Okay. Here's our homepage. Looking good. And there's our nice new footer. If I click this button, Explore Coaching Offers, it's going to take me to the beautiful products page we set up. If I click into any of these products, these pages are all set up, and we didn't even touch these pages. These are just out of the box how they look in Podia. You can customize these. It's the exact same as the rest of the website builder. You can click on the newsletter and sign up for to get the newsletter. You can click into the blog and see blog posts. You can click into each one. And look, here's my product again. I can learn more about it. I can go back to the blog. I can click into the category. So all this is interconnected, and we set this up in about 52 minutes. So that's pretty awesome. And at this point, I do want to wrap up so I can answer some questions. I know I've been talking for a minute here. I am coming back through. Okay, awesome. If you have any questions, this does wrap up the demo portion. Thank you so much for joining me. I know this is a lot. I will send you your replay so you can follow along. Please feel free to drop any questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and I will answer them for the last few minutes or so. I hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to see what you make. Bye. Thank you.